Hey everyone, it's Gankun, and today we'll be doing a deck profile and talking about Tiga decks and Tiga Blazar specifically. So for anyone who's already seen some of these match videos or our day zero deck lists, this is a variation of the Tiga Blazar we posted there, but I wanted to get a little more background on this deck and why I've kind of went in this direction with it. So for anyone who followed the channel for a while, Tiga Blazar was definitely one of the decks I was playing a lot and my go-to deck for both BP2, played a couple, I think, back-to-back Galaxy Cup wins with that, and even in BP3, this was my deck B for US Open. And then we got second place there. So, always been a big fan of Tiga Blazar. I think it was really strong at taking lead with the Triple R Tiga. It had a really good synergy with Scarred, being able to play 1-2 Tiga and then turn it into something crazy and get all the benefits from Scarred, and just it had a really good balance to it. Pretty strong, pretty consistent, great deck to play. And it's kind of gotten stuck since BP4. There wasn't a lot of support to it. We did get the 12k doubles, but didn't really change the game. But now we have like a whole new Tiga deck. So first we'll talk about the Tiga cards and what's, I guess, the core Tiga deck you'll want to consider, and then what Blazar adds to this specific package and what variations you might try, swapping out some of these other supplementary cards, or even if you wanted to introduce your own decks like Tiga Z, Tiga Nexus. There's a couple things I think you can build on top of this and do something crazy. So without further ado, let's talk about the cards. So standard, a level 1 draw card. Tiga is a reveal 3 and then take an Ultra Hero. So really good to get some cards in discard and then pick exactly what you need. So good chance to grab like a level 2 if you're missing that from starting hand. The other level 1 here, this is the basic type. This one gets 5,000, 9,000 BP with a grade up against Power Devastation. Pretty standard vanilla. One thing we'll talk about is that in December we're getting the first Ultra deck, which will be a fun new box that is a competitive Tiga Blazar deck. Very curious to see what's in there, but we've already seen that this set will also include a couple new cards and really fun tokens and sleeves and whatnot. So that will introduce a new level 1 Tiga that will, if you have seen, take a card from your discard and put it to the top of your deck. That will set up a really cool Scarred play if you play it that turn, or it can even just get you what you really desperately need in your hand and guarantee you get that next turn. Set you up for success. So 4 of these, we pretty much want to play a minimum of 8 level 1 Tigas if you're going to play like a Tiga main deck or Tiga heavy deck, because you really need to build the triples. This is kind of where the deck really takes off, and this is probably one of the strongest triples you can play in this game. So then level 2's a standard scene search, 5 cards, reveal, take the scene card, really good at ensuring you get Scarred or your other scene, and gets cards in discard, which we'll come back to. So this is again one of the new BP5 cards that I think fixes the biggest problems we had with Tiga decks. So Tiga decks typically like really wanted this triple, but if you didn't draw the right cards, there wasn't a good way to recycle. So it could have consistency problems. Mebius Tiga was another fun one, which was really strong, but lacked some of the consistency some of the other decks had. So this is the one that really fixes and sets up Tiga as that S tier deck, is what I'm thinking for BP5. So yeah, with this one, if you have extra scenes, extra Blazars, just extra cards you don't need, too many level 1s, whatever it is, put them at the bottom of the deck, and then you can draw that. Just keep in mind that this doesn't add any new cards to your hand. It only recycles cards, so the level 1 and level 2 are still better plays, the scene search, if you already have the cards you need in your hand. Otherwise, if you have just too much garbage, this will fix that problem real fast. Then our level 2s. So right now, we'll talk about kind of maybe the first variations of this. So we have here the 12k double from BP4, and then the new 10k double. So this one, pretty standard 5, 12, really strong for taking lead, especially if you're playing as the next player in turn 2. And that 12k taking lead is really important for playing Scarred. I think that's going to really get that momentum going. So you'll want to play this. However, I think there are cases where you might want to play the new multi-type that as a double, you can give a basic Ultra at plus 1000. This deck has a lot of basics. In BP5, we might find that you're going to have a lot of ties. If you, a lot of decks now have 18Ks. If you're going into quad to quad, they'll both be 20K. So that 1000 can be very important for breaking ties and like saving yourself out of some bad situations. If you're going against a zero deck and they go all in, sometimes this 1000 can make the difference for staying in the game. But 12 level 2s, I think this is a really solid number for a primary part of the deck. So we've got this number. I think you can alternate between these two if you find yourself needing to take early leads more with the 12K, or if you find yourself needing any source of plus 1000 that you can bump to any lane. That's, in this case, basic. So those are level 2s. Now, talking about the level 3s. So we have Rosaparian Beam. This is from BP1. Still one of my favorite arts from the sets. And 18K, one of the earliest 18Ks in the game, and a really strong triple effect. With this, if you play it as a triple, you can swap that lane with any other Ultra hero, which pretty much means if you play this as a triple in lane 1, on turn 3, you can move this to the front, and very few decks can really compete with 18K in lane 3 on turn 3. It pretty much guarantees you don't lose in a turn 3 rush to an aggressive opponent, pretty much gets you lead, which can really benefit into these scenes, and just overall really strong card. So must have of 4. Then the other key triple R here we just got from BP5. This is the power type Tiga that when this is a double or triple, and this one is a little complex, so make sure you play carefully and don't make some mistakes. But you can take a double or triple level 2 or level 3 Ultra Hero and give them a BP grade down, and then you can give a BP grade up to any Tiga. So you can't use this BP down on like a quad Glitter Tiga because it has to be a level 2 or level 3 character and a double or triple. So keep that in mind. However, it is an Ultra Hero, so we'll come back to Blazar in a bit, but if you have a 1-2 Blazar lane, you can give Blazar, you can BP down it to nothing, and then give any of your Tigas a BP grade up. So you can play this also on turn 3 or turn 4, any of these later lanes as a double, and you can find a lane that's already going to lose anyways, bump it down, bump this up to a 17K, and 17K is also a really strong number that is typically very hard to beat in a new lane. Now we're coming into the level 3 variations. So if you saw the Day 0 video, I did start to talk about this a little bit. So I think this is where there's a couple spots for Tiga that I think are open for variation. So right now I have 3 Tigas here because I do want to run 11 Tigas. And I've been kind of going back and forth, but I'm kind of happy with this as it is right now. So we have just one of these starter deck Tigas. So this will basically give you a second triple to build towards. So this is the best triple you want to prioritize. This is a 5th triple that is really powerful. So with this one, just 17K, the starter deck one, if you discard a card, you can give its opponent a BP grade decrease. So either of these triples on turns 3 will guarantee you don't pretty much lose the game. So you'll want to have these as options. Now, the other 2 spots, I've been thinking about this one for now, which is the power type minus 1000 on play. It's really handy. It's a solid 13K double. However, with that minus 1000, it's effectively a 14K double, which is sometimes what you really need to survive a turn or take lead. But it can also be a minus 1000 to any of your opponent's characters. So it kind of does a similar role to this. If your opponent has some ties, their 18K decker is lined up against your 18K Tiga, you can play this and force a win. Or maybe you can force a tie somewhere else to not lose the game. So there are some other Tigas I have in consideration. There's a new one from this set that you can discard a card from hand and grab a scene card from discard. That could be handy if you want to get certain cards in discard and you desperately need a scene for a setup turn. So that might be something to consider. There's just the flat 14K doubles. And then there's also like ones where you get a BP grade increase against power types. I could see myself using that if I'm expecting a lot of Tigas in the, or Jeeds in the matchups and the meta where you want to have those extra bumps against power types. So um, this deck has, I think, a lot of variations that you could play with your Tigas to get the most value out of what you're expecting. And last for the Tiga side, we have the big new level 4 Glitter Tiga. Anyone not familiar, this one, when you play it as a quad, you can take the top card of one of your level 2 or level 3 Tigas. It's a double or triples, basically not a single, and put that in your hand, and then take a Tiga of that same level from your discard and place it. So pretty much this gets you a free card draw and a second activation of one of these guys. Well, technically all of these. So if you're able to play that, it's a 20k, so it's going to be a solid lane, but you're getting that extra card draw to keep the game going, so it doesn't feel like you're losing any momentum, and it's a really great target for Scarred. With this deck, you're probably going to always have a Tiga triple, so if you play Scarred and you hit one of these, it might win the game outright, or worst case, it will just get you a free card and keep you in the game for a better following turn. So with this is kind of the Tiga core. I think you could, like these utility slots, you could probably remove and swap and fill into one of your other characters, but I think this half here, the 8 level 1s, probably 10 level 2s, these 8 level 3s are kind of the core, and you probably won't deviate too much from here. I would definitely reduce the number of level 4s for any other Tiga deck. Level 4s to me are similar to scene cards, where if you have too many of them, they'll clutter your hand and you can just lose the game by not being able to play what you draw. However, in this case, Scarred will be able to activate those without having to necessarily play them from hand. Also, another thing, since this Glitter Tiga does require things from discard to play, you do need a healthy discard, which is why those scene searches are important and Scarred. And yeah, so this is the Tiga, the core set. One thing, we do also have the Tiga scene. This is good if you have a Tiga heavy field where you just didn't draw your Blazars. This one will give 2 Tigas that are level 3 or higher, minus or plus 2000, and a Devastation minus 2000. I'm not really relying on the Devastation too much unless you're playing against a Belial deck, but really that plus 2000, it's kind of like what Labyrinth does, where you get 2000 to 2 of your characters. This one will do the same thing for Tigas. And with this, like, this will hit 20k, these can hit 19ks, and it'll pretty much be a pretty solid turn to win that game as well. Now, then on the Blazar side, very light on Blazars, 3 level 1 Blazars, get that extra draw. Scene searches, again, since we just talked about how it's important to hit the Blazar scene, and put cards in discard for Glitter Tiga, get the scene searches. There is the Recycle 2 Blazar coming in the Ultra deck, though I'm not convinced I would play those yet. They are really good at improving the deck's consistency, but I think at the moment for my testing, this Tiga does enough of that. Really what you want is more ways to get that scene and put cards in discard, because there's also games where if you just play the Glitter Tiga but you don't have a level 3 in your discard, you just kind of missed out on a really great part of the effect. And this is another one where, just like the Tiga utility, I've kind of played around with the other Blazar cards. So there is this one that I was considering for a long time. It's a minus, it's a BP grade up against basic types. This was really solid in the last set, though I don't know if this is what I'd want to play in this upcoming set. It kind of depends on whether or not we have a lot of basic types. Then we have the triple R from BP1. That one really needs to be played as a triple, and this deck, even compared to the BP2 version of this, has really downgraded the Blazar sides. So want to avoid that one. But this one's also good as a double and a triple, so this is kind of the best balance. It's a 13k, or it has a minus 1000, and you exile an opponent's card on play, so it's kind of like a 13k double when you play it, or an 18k triple when that turn you play it, which is both really good numbers. And more importantly, it has that 1 card exile, which I think first couple sets exile is not really a meaningful ability. Maybe you could get a couple situations with Mebius where you could take out their key card and get something, maybe Rosa Blue, get rid of on the scene. It could make a difference, but it didn't really feel as impactful. I think in this upcoming set, there's going to be more and more cases where that exile will have some impact. If you're playing against a Tiga mirror match and you know their level 4 is coming out, if you exile their level 3s, it'll really, like this one specifically, it'll really restrict what they can do when they play their level 4s. Similarly, Omega has a lot of cards that now that take certain cards from discard and puts them on the field or in the hand. Being able to find a Valganus or Recunus and exile it could be very useful. So yeah, there's definitely a lot more value for these exiles. So kind of like a really good balance of everything and just all rounder. So this is a set. And then talking about how you might play this for other things. If you're building a Tiga deck, you can start with this core and then maybe move some of these cards here into this set. So if you were doing like a Z Tiga deck, you could probably do 4 level 1 Zs. You could probably make this like 6 level 2 Zs where you have some scene searches. I think those are still very important. And then 2 of maybe those recycle cards. And then you could probably do 4 of the Triple RZ. And with that, it's pretty strong actually. You could same thing with this card's effect. You're getting that effect off of your Z, and that'll ensure you survive until you can really steamroll with the later turns. If you're playing that build, you probably play 4 of this scene, and then yeah, you don't have Scarred. Tiga Nexus I think would be very interesting as well. I don't know if you would probably run Labyrinth compared to this scene. I think this scene is probably more reliable, but it only bumps Tigas, but you would still keep Nexus on the lighter side. However, you have now the plus 2000 from the Triple R. It does provide a scene destruction, which is really handy, and overall, really strong card. And however, regarding scene destruction, I think this card deck is relatively good at taking lead against most decks. So it's still nice to have, but not as required, I think, compared to other Nexus builds. And I think from there, there's a lot of other opportunities to explore. You could explore again a new version of Tiga Mebius. Tiga Orb is an idea that recently were floating around. So definitely take this and see what you can do with all of the new Tiga cards. I think with that, then I kind of want to talk just how you play this deck. So we were talking about this deck setup in really Tiga, but I would actually say this is one of the harder decks to play because there are a lot of moving pieces. We did try teaching this with a couple people and seeing how it works, and there are definitely a lot of moving pieces. It does help that I did play a good amount of Tiga Blazar before. So we'll do some practice games with this to explain it, but really you have to be really strategic with how this triple R works, because being able to BP down and BP up is really powerful, but you need to know how to align your pieces. So one way I think about with playing this is that Blazar is 9 times out of 10 a dead lane. If I play Blazar somewhere, it's really only get scarred out. I don't play expecting that Blazar to win. Now, if that Blazar is able to win, that's a nice bonus, but I can't play my strategy expecting that. Instead, what I want is I want Blazar, specifically one of these 7 cards, to provide me more cards in my hand. And then if I'm able to play double, whether it's a 1-2 or 2-3, that is my lane to apply and stack all of these BP downs to. There are some turns where you actually activate this effect twice, and then I'm just going to have a lot of 17Ks in lanes 4 and 5, and this lane will just lose, but that's fine because I'll be able to win everything else with like the really strong Tiga, 18Ks, the 20Ks, Scarred, so something to keep in mind. And you're really focusing on getting the scene out, getting cards in your discard to then play into Scarred. So another thing and tip I suggest here is that you want Scarred to win you the game, but you can't rely on Scarred. You're gonna miss Scarred. It happens all the time, but that's kind of part of playing the deck. Unless you're going for a Hail Mary move where you're falling behind, I wouldn't set up Scarred as I need to hit a level 4 off of Scarred or level 3 off of Scarred to stay in the game and win. Instead, I like to set up my Tiga lanes such that at worst I will tie the game and I don't get what I need, or I'll hit something off guard and just win the game. And by doing so, if I miss, I'm still in the game, and then I just hit him next turn. There's definitely match videos I think you'll see with I miss the level 4 in the first 2 Scards, but we're still in the game. And then the second I hit it on that third Scarred, everything goes off, and then you just win. So something to keep in mind. So we'll do some test hands to really talk about what you're looking for, but the key thing is you want to have a Tiga triple, specifically the Perion Beam. That is your first goal in a mulligan hand. You want to have a level 1 draw of some form and a path to build a triple. So what you're looking for is probably a level 1 draw Tiga if you can get it. If you have the level 3 Zeppelion Beam, that's great, and then some combination of either Scene Search and Scarred and some kind of Blazar. If you have those 4 cards, you're set. If you're willing to take some risks, you could try and fish for a level 2 off of the level 1 draw. Pretty good chances you get it. If you do miss it, though, it could throw you the game. So if you can get a starting hand with just a safe triple, that's what you're aiming for. But from there, yeah, you're just aiming for a triple, Blazar, and Scar. So starting moves, always play your level 1 draw card. You do want to make sure you have enough cards in draw to set up what you need. And then from turn 2 is where things get interesting. Depending on the matchups, you might either try and take lead right away if you're confident you'll have Scarred in hand and you can play it, or you just play another level 1 draw card and you just build up a bunch of resources. Or you play a 1-2 and then you're pretty aggressive and going for like a really strong turn 3 move. I think from there, then you're able to play almost anything in lane 3. So if you have the 18k Triple R Tiga set up right away, then you could just play like a Scene Search, a level 1 draw, just anything that's getting you some kind of resource. And that'll be your designated like dump lane in lane 1 or lane 3, and then you could just swap it into lane 1. Your opponent's probably building their stronger triples and quads there, and then you just have like a level 1 draw card that you just leave that level 1 Blazar there for the rest of the game. But then you've got all your cards focused on the latter half and usually able to win and control those. So something to think about. So let's say if this was our starting hand, this is definitely a mulligan, since there's no level 1 cards and we have enough path for that triple. And then let's see if we have this. This is not ideal, but I think if you had to play this, you'd probably start off with a Scene Search, and then next turn be able to draw. Fortunately, yeah, that one's not the best. I need to shuffle this a little bit more so these little 4s don't all get stuck together. Yeah, I think all the level 1s are probably still clumped. So that could have just been a bad hand, but let's see. You have 7 level 1 draw cards, so you're very likely to hit some of these. Now, this one is actually really good. So even though we don't have level 1 draw Tiga, we have all the pieces you're looking for. You have a means to a Tiga triple, you have a Scene Search and a Blazar, specifically a Blazar double, and then you have a just level 2 Tiga that you'll need for later. So this is one where you want to get draws right away, so I would probably start off the game, if I was playing against Stirring or someone, with a level 1 Blazar. With this, you'll draw 2 cards, and this is interesting. I would probably put back a level 2 Tiga. I think I would actually put back the Recycle 2 just because I have everything I want with this deck. And the reason I'm doing this is that turn 2, I'll probably play something like this. Turn 3, I could play a 1 or a 1-2. And all these cards are going to go here, so there's nothing I really need to recycle with this setup, so probably put this back at the bottom. I think with this, then, going into turn 2, you would draw a card, and like we're pretty set for a good couple of turns. So with this, my thinking is I have a good chance of hitting Scarred off of this, and I'm not going to, very unlikely to lose turn 3. So this is a game where you'd want to go aggressive. If I didn't have a Scene Search, I might go slow and just play this first and just draw another card. However, by turn 3, you want to have a Tiga triple, so I have to do this. play this, and then level these up. This 12k should get you lead against most decks. It won't be every deck, but pretty good move. So one, we'll do a scene search, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we didn't hit the scene card, which is unfortunate, but we'll keep it in mind that we do have level 2s and 3s in this card, and this will be relevant when we get to the Glitter Tiga later. So we'll draw a card. So we actually have a Blazar triple. That's a nice bonus. And then what we would do is something like this. Play this. This is a card you hold on to until you're ready to end the game. And yeah, we'll do this. Reveal 3 cards. Probably take a level 2. Because we'll already have 2 triples. We can play like a 2-3 double off of that. And then we would swap these. So this will get me lead. And definitely guarantee you stay in the game. We're really hoping for Scarred. Did not get Scarred, but I think this is actually a turn we would just very likely win the game. So I'd probably do a move like this. Play these. So play this level 2. And then you could level up all of these. One thing, you could consider swapping these. This is already an all-in move anyways, and this would give you plus another 1,000. I do think it could be safer to do this though, just because you're very likely to keep lead, and worst case if you miss, getting that Scarred in hand would be very nice to make sure you don't just lose. So I would probably take this move. With this, you do a minus 1,000. This is an 18k. Not guaranteed to win, but reasonable chances of winning. This is a scene search. You do a Glitter Tiga. You have this. If you do a minus 1,000 here, this becomes 19k. So that's pretty strong. Very likely to win unless your opponent has a quad here. We do a Glitter Tiga. This would go back in hand, and then you can play this card here. This card, we're gonna just assume that this lane is going to have a BP down here, and this becomes 17k. This is 20k, and with a 19, 9 or 19, 7, 20, 17, very likely to win. Worst case, you have a scene search. We hit a Scarred. Oh, here, and then your turn 5 would look something like this. Play a Scarred. And you could probably just play this and this. With this, you can BP down whatever lane is kind of losing. BP down that, BP up a lane that would otherwise win, and then you would end up playing a Scarred. And in this case, we missed it, but I think by this point you're still pretty strong, very likely to stay in the game, and then just kind of go from there. So this is just an example, kind of Tiga Blazar hand. I hope this example helped kind of see the flow and what like I'm thinking when we're playing this. Hopefully you're able to follow along. There are a lot of moving pieces to where you want to put certain lanes, when you want to swap. It's a little easier to show in this solitaire type example, but when you're actually playing against an opponent, then it gets trickier because you'll want to look into what your opponent can do and pretty much make sure you don't lose turn 3, but then figure out what lanes you expect them to have power in and pump accordingly. So, but yeah, pretty much this was Tiga Blazar. We'll continue to do more match videos with this deck. I'm going to probably take this to some of the new challenge or Galaxy Cups. I do like with Scarred, I'm able to get the most synergy with this card. So big fan of that. I think it's pretty hard to run for Glitter Tigas otherwise. And yeah, hopefully we'll see some interesting variations like Tiga Z and Tiga Nexus down the line and play some of those videos. And hope everyone enjoyed this. Leave us a note in the comments if you're able to play this and have any luck with it. I will say that this is a deck that I've really enjoyed playing with all set, and if I was in Singapore tomorrow, it would be the qualifiers, and I actually would probably play this as deck A. I'd probably maybe do Belial or something interesting for deck B, but we'll see. We'll have to actually play this in some more events. But I'm very bullish on this. I think this is a really solid deck to play in BP5, and we'll see if this gets any results in the Ohio qualifiers. Uh, if I play in the LA qualifiers, there's a very strong chance that this is one of the two decks I'd play them there too. So keep an eye out for this deck. It does get stronger after we get the Ultra deck in mid or early December. And yeah, hope everyone enjoyed this. Let us know any other deck profiles you're looking for, but this will be the end of Tiga week, and hope everyone enjoys the rest of our BP5 videos. Thank you.